Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, everybody.
Who are you?
I'm Rob.
You forgot that part.
You forgot who I am.
And I'm Joan.
Good start.
I'm glad that you're here watching us. We got off to a good start.
Yippee.
Oh, George
Hi,
says,
George.
Salutations from Hurricane Alley on the Texas coast. We're so sorry, George. Are you dried out yet? Have everything put away? Trish Pipkin says, hello.
Hi, Trish.
Hello. We're glad all of you guys are here. Remember to like, share, comment, and follow. And if you have a chance, follow us on our YouTube channel. It's Indie Book Source. I think we only have like 36 followers or something sad like that.
On that. Well, yeah.
On that one. Yeah, I'm talking about that one.
So if you go there, subscribe.
Yeah,
Indie Book Source.
And give us
YouTube.
a like. Mm-hmm. George says he's more or less dried out, still swamping mud out of the storeroom. Ugh. Yeah, I bet you are. Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, we have two lovely guests tonight. Yeah. First one will be Abigail Keam. She'll be on in a moment. After that, in the second half, we'll have LOREEN DE KORT, and she's a poet and very lovely person as well.
They both are.
Both are.
And Abigail has a lot of books to share with us tonight.
So make sure you stay tuned for the whole show. 4 separate series
that look really exciting.
And now let's welcome Abigail.
Abigail, let's
Keam.
bring her on. Hi, Abigail.
Hello, I'm glad to be here.
We're glad to have you too. It's really good to see you and to talk about your books. What would you like to tell us about yourself? Anything?
Well, I'm a native Kentuckian, and my books are centered in Kentucky, and I write about Kentucky women, fictional characters, and I try to bring in elements that are particular to Kentucky. Now, I live in the Bluegrass area. I live in a metal house on the cliffs, and the cliffs at the border of Fayette County that border the Kentucky River are called the Palisades. And this cliff system played a huge part in the history of Kentucky. So both of my books, my mystery series, the Josiah Reynolds mystery series, is more contemporary. And then I have a 1930s series, the Mona Moon series, which deals with what was going on in the Bluegrass area in the 1930s, which was very volatile. And everybody knows the Bluegrass is where all the fabulous horse farms are. So I'm very blessed to live in an extremely beautiful area with all these beautiful horses roaming the fields and these gorgeous mansions. I don't live in a mansion. I wish I did. I don't. I'm from the outside looking in, but I do live in a very beautiful area. So that's what I write about. You know, you're supposed to write about what you know. So that's what I write about.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, let's bring up actually your first series here is the Josiah Reynolds mystery series.
Yes, Josiah is a middle-aged woman who's a beekeeper, and she is an amateur sleuth. Now, this is my first book, Death by a Honeybee, which was a gold medal winner from Reader's Favorite. And then you could see a barn in the background of the cover, and that barn is a real barn. It is right by the Keeneland Race Course on Versailles Road. Anybody who knows in this area knows what I'm talking about. And it is the most photographed barn, sketched, painted barn in the state of Kentucky. And you will see it on other authors' covers, such as J.R. Ward. And I just had to have that barn on the cover. I just had to have it because it's quintessential bluegrass.
Yes.
You're supposed to write about what you know. And I was a beekeeper, a professional beekeeper for many years. And I sold my honey at the Lexington Farmers Market. And then I retired from doing that. And I started writing about a middle-aged beekeeper who was a sleuth. So, and I put a lot of honeybee information and how you keep bees in it. And I try to do it in a way that's informative and not boring, I hope. And I write these little mysteries that have a lot of history in them and a lot of Kentucky culture in them. And I'm on my 16th one.
Wow.
I didn't know if it was going to take off or not, when I wrote this. I kept dreaming about this woman. I kept dreaming about her, and I just felt she wanted to be born. So when I write about Josiah, I don't do outlines. I don't make notes. It's all stream of consciousness. And, in mysteries, you're supposed to write the ending first, and then you kind of backtrack to make the clues fit the ending. I don't do that. And one time I did do a plot run, and I wrote it down, and my characters decided they wanted to go in a different direction. So I just let them tell me where they want to go.
Absolutely. We all say that, all the authors that we have on, and in our experience, you can't make the characters do what they do not want to do.
No, they do. They have a life of their own. One of the reasons that Josiah is middle-aged, I love reading mysteries, and I kept reading all these mysteries, and they were all young, and they had shops, and in between their breaks, they would solve mysteries. I wanted to write something about someone who was bitter, who was going through a divorce, who was angry, and who was sarcastic. And I just thought women would relate to her.
Yeah.
Especially women who had a few years on them. And I tried to make her funny. But yeah, she is bitter and she is sarcastic. But she is very funny. So I hope people enjoy her. They seem to enjoy her. So, that's Josiah.
And Trish said, save the bees. And that's true. Without bees, we're goners, folks. We can't lose the bees.
Right. Now, this is the first book in the Josiah Reynolds
first
mystery.
of 16.
Right?
Yes, correct.
Chanel says, your characters are original and real to life.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Hi, Chanel.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Chanel. How are you doing? You're not driving while you're watching, are you?
Let's hope not.
She commented last week, I'm listening while I'm driving home. We were like, drive safe, please. Yes, so that was the first of 16, correct?
That's the first of 16, and I also write about race relations, what was going on in Kentucky, what is going on now, and I write, we have a large gay population, so I have a gay couple in it, and I hope they're funny. They battle back and forth. And I wanted to write, actually, these are based on people that I know. So it was not a stretch for me to write about these types of people, and their issues. And I was happy to incorporate that because I think it makes the book richer. I wanted to write about what the bluegrass is really about. And it's very diverse in its population. So I hope I did a good job. I hope I did. And I hope people appreciate it. I guess so, since I'm on my 16th book. I see the cover of Murder Under a Blue Moon. This is Mona Moon. She is younger. She's 29. She has platinum hair and yellow eyes. And I wrote her looks based on Jean Harlow. And I had her have yellow eyes because yellow eyes run in my family. So this was only supposed to be 3 books. It was supposed to be a trilogy. And the cover, we took Vogue magazine at the time in 1933 was using blocks of color like this on their magazines. They had it on quite a few of their magazines. And they had different blocks of color. It was supposed to be the new Art Deco design. So that's kind of what we took for the cover. And now I'm working on the 8th one. And she's starting to outpace Josiah a little bit. Because, and the reason I read about the 30s, I listened to my parents talk about the Great Depression and what they had to go through. And also, it's a very volatile time in the nation. It's, you have the 30s, you have the 60s, and you have now. And, the same things that are going on now were going on then. So the labor riots, the general unrest, the civil rights movement was beginning in terms of protesting. Women were wanting to get out of the house and do work, but they were kind of stuck where they were financially. And I thought I knew a lot. I'm a good reader of history, and I thought I knew a lot, and I found out I didn't know as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, there's always something new to learn. Chanel says that she's at her desk and she's read the first 10 of the Josiah.
She has the first 10 books.
She's 10 books Chanel has. So that's cool.
You got to catch up. You got to catch up. There's 6 more.
So both of those sound awesome and distinctly different. Both of those series. I really like those.
Let's get into the book giveaway.
Oh, all right.
Okay, before we go on to the next batch.
All right, before we go on to our next series. All right.
All right. We're going to go ahead and do your book giveaway now, and then we'll talk about the other 2 series. And let's get down to it. Here's the first book giveaway, folks. The first 4 people to email abigailshoney@windstream.com will win an ebook copy of book 1 of one of the series.
It's Windstream.
Is it .net?
It's .net. That's
.net, yes.
Okay, .net. Okay, let's put that up here then. There we go.
Okay.
That's the right one. Don't look at the one on the banner.
So that's Abigail's Honey at windstream.net, and Abigail is ABIGAILSHONEY at Windstream, WINDSTREAM.net. So 4 giveaways.
Right.
The first book in each one of her 4 series will be given.
So the 2 covers you just saw, those will be one of them.
Right. So.
And it will be ebooks.
Ebooks.
Mm-hmm.
Chanel says she's not bedridden anymore, so she can't sit still. James says, hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
Hi, James.
Hi, James.
Better late than never. Whoops. Yeah, that's what Trish said.
Trish says better late than never. Rob said it also.
There you go. Where did the
last chance
giveaway go to?
What?
Where'd the giveaway banner go to?
The giveaway banner?
Yeah.
It came off when I put up the book. There you go. Okay, Last Chance Motel.
That is a happily ever after sweet romance that I wrote. I wrote 5 books in it. It takes place in Key Largo. Again, it centers around a middle-aged woman whose husband divorced her. Her life is, she feels like she's drowning. She goes to Key Largo on a lark, and she ends up buying a rundown hotel, and she tries to renovate it. I love Key Largo. I go there all the time, and they're definitely there really is a last chance motel there. And I don't know if it's been torn down or what they've done to it. I haven't been down since the pandemic started, but I just wanted to write sweet little stories. They're more novellas. And as the stories go along, they get more and more magical. The last one is called The Mermaid's Carol, and it's about a mermaid. A woman's marriage is falling apart, and the legend is if you hear the mermaid sing, you get to make a wish. And she does hear the mermaid, and you think she's just imagining it, but at the end, the mermaid does pop up. So they're little magical stories, little feel-good stories you can read in a couple hours. But they were a lot of fun to write, and It's a little vacation read.
Is it different characters in each book?
Yes, each
Okay.
book is a different person that comes to the motel.
Okay. So it's kind of like a Last Chance for Love at the Last Chance Motel, centering around people
Yes,
who visit there.
and they had
That's
different
great.
problems. You know, when you write about murder all the time, which is a very dark subject,
Yeah.
even though the books are light and funny, it's
Yeah.
still a very dark subject. I wanted to write something that was a little more life-giving,
Less,
a little lighter.
little less dark, a little easier to write all the time and go over it 15,000 times and redo it and
Yeah, and I
not
didn't have to
sit
do
in all that murder.
And I didn't have to do research on it, and I just put them out, and just they're fun reads. I really enjoy that little. I really enjoyed the series quite a bit.
By the way, we did fix the banner, so that is the correct email there, .net, for anybody
And then
that's
I
entering.
did want to show you the first book in the last series, Wall of Doom, the Princess Mora tales. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I wrote that series in the 90s. I love reading fantasy, and I really enjoy writing fantasy. And I tried to get the whole series published, but in the 90s it was very male oriented, and I just could not break that wall. When I started publishing myself, I published the books myself. And I don't know if I'll go back to writing fantasy, but I really, really enjoy it. And I really think the series is very good.
Chanel wants to know, is the hotel, going back to Last Chance Hotel, is the hotel like the Song Hotel in California?
No.
It's a real hotel. Then you can leave.
Yeah, you can leave these hotels. These are happily ever ending. I don't think Hotel California.
No,
I don't think that's a happy ending there.
No, it did not.
But it's also not like the Muppets Hotel, right?
No, it's not like that.
No, okay, good.
I'd kind of like to stay at the Muppets.
The Muppet one looked kind of fun.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Well, I want to let people know how they can reach you.
Yes.
So Abigail's Facebook is Facebook Abigail Keam. That's really easy, folks. So it's ABIGAIL KEAM. And that's how you can reach her on Facebook. And look at this, easy peasy. Twitter is at Abigail Keam. I like this, the way this is going. Instagram is Abigail Keam.
You're on a roll.
You're going to be able to remember how to reach her.
There you go.
And her website is www.abigailkeam.com. So just think Abigail Keam, whichever part of social media you're on, look her up on her website. Only the email is different, and I imagine that comes from when she was a beekeeper before she became an author.
That is correct, yes.
By the way, I have to tell you, we only eat raw, unfiltered honey.
That's all. We didn't eat anything else. Hamburger,
really?
Nothing else.
It's the only kind of honey that we eat.
Yeah.
Really love it. Tastes so good.
It is a battle to get people to understand. Leave the dandelions in your yard. They're not weeds. They're very useful plants. Leave the clover, white Dutch clover, in your yards. You know, you all are we're similar ages, and we remember everybody had clover in their yards. And you wanted clover in your yards because it attracted bees, because everybody had gardens. And actually, white Dutch clover seed was mixed in with the grass seed. So I tell people you need to leave these plants in your yards, because when the spring comes, these are the first plant that honeybees go after to get nectar from. And Kentucky produces over 30 different types of honey. It's some of the best honey in the United States, and it is goes anywhere. The color and the taste depends on the nectar, and it goes anywhere from what looks like water, it's clear honey, to black, which is buckwheat honey. Now, the clear honey is black locust honey that the trees bloom in May. And if you can harvest that honey before the clover nectar comes in, it is clear. And it's very thin and it's a very sweet honey. The buckwheat honey is black, it's very thick, and it's kind of bitter tasting. I don't care for it, but it has a lot of antioxidants in it, and people will buy it to eat it for the antioxidant. They buy it for health reasons. And in between that, you have all colors of red, yellow, and brown honey. And yes, always buy from your local beekeeper. Buy, as you said, raw unfiltered honey. Do not buy honey that has been cooked. It is absolutely useless to you.
Yeah, and it doesn't taste good either, but it doesn't help your body. Whereas if you buy local raw unfiltered honey, it's going to help you to resist certain germs and stuff like that. Chanel says her grandfather was a beekeeper and grew strawberries for his bees.
Yeah, did you know him?
Is that what attracted you to her books, Chanel, I wonder? And then she says best honey was his. Oh yeah, of course it was your grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he grew strawberries. I bet that was really sweet honey.
So you've got a new book coming out next month.
Let's give people a peek.
October 18th there.
Yes, Death by Chance. It comes out October the 18th. And as I tell you, I take elements of what's going on in Kentucky and incorporate them into the storyline. And this is about agate hunting and Civil War reenactment. And it culminates in a Civil War costume party. And that's Josiah with her English Mastiff, Baby. And I based Baby on the English Mastiff I had. She was about 200 pounds, and her name was Belle. She's passed on for many years now, but I miss her terribly. But I relive her when I write about Baby in these books. And every time I see an English Mastiff, I just go crazy. I have to pet it. I have to go visit it. But I wanted to show you, Kentucky's very well known for agate. And agate is a mineral, and it comes in geodes that looks like this, and you slice it.
Wait a minute, let us take the book down.
There we go.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And
That's okay.
You slice it, but it's a geode, and you find it in streams, and it's different colors. But you want the ones, the most popular ones are one with red in it, and this is what they are polished for jewelry. See the red? Can you see the red?
Very easily, yep. It's in the middle, down at the bottom.
Yeah, and you see how it's polished?
Yeah.
And that is used for jewelry. And I was very fortunate to work with a man called Roland McIntosh, who is the #1 agate hunter here in the bluegrass. And I think in Kentucky, he's written books and he gives lectures on agate. So I learned quite a bit about the agate business from him. So I just took what I learned and incorporated it into the book. And it was a lot of fun to write.
Chanel says, my high school secretary for the library was my sweetest friend, and she sent me books for gifts, and she sent me the first Josiah mystery. Isn't that sweet? That's nice. That's how she got started reading your books.
Oh, that's great.
And George says the ancient Egyptians thought honey was a magic food, great for hangovers.
That would be magical. Yeah, my mother used to polish stones, agates, and make jewelry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she had she had the machines and all
the
that.
rock
tumblers.
Mm-hmm.
We have a store in downtown Lexington. That's all they sell is agate jewelry. A whole store divided. It's becoming extremely popular. And I've got quite a few of these little gems, but I really need to have jewelry made of them. I have rings, but I just wanted to write because it was something unusual to the area. But your friend that talks about Egyptians, one of the George, one of the in the cartouche for Pharaoh is a honeybee. It's considered royal, and also Alexander the Great's body was encased in honey to keep it from putrefying, because honey is a preservative, and his body was smeared with honey, and that's one of the little known facts about honey.
There you go.
Chanel says she sells rocks and crystals, which actually we knew about Chanel.
Oh, okay.
That's really awesome, Chanel. And James says, and honey tastes good with peanut butter. Yes, it does. It tastes really good. And Chanel says she has jewelry made from many different rocks and crystals. Yeah, it's really fun. And George Dismukes, the one who was talking about the Egyptians, he's an author also, and he has a movie coming out.
Yeah.
Siren Song.
So before we run out of time, you also have another book coming out in December.
But George did want to say this, that you know your history.
There you go.
He says, yep, the lady knows her history.
Oh, well, thank you. I try to be accurate.
We love that. We really do.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last one, which is the one coming out on Christmas Day, if I remember correctly, it's another Mon Amour mystery series.
Yes, as I told you before, I was only going to write 3, and it became so popular. And people were saying, "Well, when's the next book coming out?" And I was thinking, I hadn't planned on. So we're now on book number 8, and I guess I'll go to 10 on this. But I don't know. I enjoy writing about her so much in the time and what was going on. I can't say I'll stop at 10. I don't know.
You better ask your characters when they want to stop.
Yeah. So,
right?
Yeah, and we kept the same theme, the blocks of color for each book. We just changed the colors, so it has a branded look to it. But I tell you, the 30s were really raucous, and there were so many interesting people and so much going on in Kentucky and the nation as a whole. And it's just a very interesting time to write about.
Mm-hmm.
The cover looks very retro too, I must say. I really like the way that it looks, the color blocking and stuff.
Yeah. And
Chanel says honey has no expiration date. If it dies, it's not real honey. And that's true, because you can keep it forever.
So who does your covers?
Well, my husband did these covers.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant. He did a good job. I love that. It's so retro looking.
He did those covers because we didn't want to invest a lot of money in the covers because we were only going to do 3 books.
There you go.
You have to pay a lot of money for covers.
Yes, you do.
For the other books, the Josiah books, I have a local artist do that, and that is Cricket Press. And I had seen their posters around town. They just did posters. And I emailed them and I said, have you ever done a book cover? Because I wanted something very unique looking and that was different from other people's mysteries covers that I had seen. And one of the artists, it's a wife and husband team, said, no, we've never done a book cover, but we'll give it a shot. And I kind of give them a vague idea of what I want, and they conjure up a book cover for me. And I can say this is the 16th one that they've done. And I go back ever so often, and I, as authors do, we have to upgrade the back and front matter. And then I change the colors, not the colors, but the covers. And every cover that they change or redo or whatever, it's fabulous. It's just... the covers just get better and better. I'm very pleased. And it's Cricket Press.
It's very nice.
Is it like cricketpress.com or?
Yes.
Okay, cool. If anybody's looking for a
cover. If anyone's looking for a cover.
You bet.
Trish Pipkin says, yes, people have eaten 2,000-year-old honey. I love that, she says.
Yes, that is true. It never goes bad.
Yep. Imagine eating food that's 2,000 years old.
I don't know. I don't know if I do that. I'd have to think twice about that.
I think that happened to me at McDonald's one time.
Is it?
2,000-year-old honey at McDonald's in one of those little packets.
There you go.
That's not really honey.
Yeah. Now, I do want to tell your listeners, when honey crystallizes, which it does, that is a natural process of honey. It will get real thick and grainy, kind of crystallized. It's not bad. It's just going into another state. Now, most of the world eats crystallized honey. It's only in the United States we only eat liquid honey. If you don't like that crystallized honey, again, it is not bad. All you need to do is take the bottle and put it in the dashboard of your car on a sunny day. And if it's a plastic bottle, keep an eye on it, and the sun will reliquefy it.
You can
There you
also
go.
nuke it in the microwave. I've done that.
Yes, you can do that.
I remember when I was a kid, I had whipped honey,
Yeah.
and that was real. That was a real treat to have that on toast. That was great
Yeah.
because it melted on there. It's great, yummy. Anyway, we're going to need to go to commercial now, and when we come back, we will welcome Loreen and talk with her. And thank you, Abigail. Stay right where you're at.
Yeah, don't go away.
And here we go.
Hey, look at us. We've got a new store.
Yeah, we do. It's pretty exciting.
What can you find there?
We have a number of designs available on t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, laptop and phone cases, pillows, and new designs are coming in all the time.
Sounds like a great place to shop for authors and readers.
Yeah, and it's easy to find. It's simple. Just visit indiebooksource.com, click on the store tab, and you're there.
A batch of experimental missiles is hijacked by a group with military training. Duncan Pride, an agent of the Ministry of Intelligence, is tasked with the recovery of them before they can be used. Nathan Jericho, an ex-Special Forces soldier, now running the Independent Criminal Executive, has them and intends to use them. Pride has to work with a beautiful coalition intelligence agent, Jasmine Fields, trying to learn what Jericho's motives are and avert a disaster of catastrophic proportions. Lone Operator is full of political intrigue as shadowy figures behind the curtain of civilization pull strings in Machiavellian plans. Action and adventure rich in texture with complex characters and a hero like no other make Lone Operator a thrilling entry in a new series that will grab you by the throat and leave you wanting for more.
Lone Operator, the Duncan Pride series by Jan Damagala. Available now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and retailers worldwide.
WLFE Digital Broadcast Network presents Variety Unlimited Television. Watch shows like Meet the Author Podcast, The Bipolar DM, Just Cindy, Card Pulls and Coffee, Unfiltered Talk with Bryce, and more. That's right, our shows are your shows on WLFE Digital Broadcast Network. And now, back to the show.
Hi, Loreen. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. How are you doing tonight?
I'm fine.
That's good. Now, Loreen, could you kind of tell us how you wrote your book, or why you wrote your book, or what prompted you to write your book? Let me see how many different ways I can ask that question.
You only have to answer it once.
Okay. I wrote my book, as the name of the book is Notes on the Train, and I actually wrote it riding on the subway back and forth from work. I was in therapy at the time, and I was unable to express the thoughts and feelings that I had in a very constructive way. So my therapist suggested I started journaling it. So I started writing down what I was feeling in poetry form, and that's how I got a collection of poems. And the book, actually, I wrote it 25 years ago, but I lost it because I had the hard copies on a disc, and I was thinking disc will be around forever. At that time, you probably thought that.
Didn't we all, right?
Yeah.
But I was unable to open the disc, and I lost the hard copies through moving and life changes and everything. But I had the foresight of putting the hard copies into the Library of Congress Copyright Office. So someone suggested, why don't you see if they still have it? So I wrote the Library of Congress 2 years ago, last year before the pandemic started. And they said, well, there's a pandemic going on. There's no one in the office. We're all working from home. But as soon as someone can go in, we will look and see if we have your material. And then 8 months later, along comes a envelope from them, and all my materials is in it. So I quickly transposed it into a, computer version again and published it.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
That's a
I
great
didn't know
story.
that story. That's really cool. By the way, Darlene Marsh says, hi, Lorene.
Hi, Darlene.
Mhm.
I assume she's a friend of yours?
Yes, that's my sister-in-law.
Hey, Darlene.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the audience. Glad that you're here. And don't you have short stories also in your book, not just
There are also
poetry?
short stories, mostly poetry, but there's a couple of short stories. There's a short story that was about a person riding the train, coincidentally as I was, and the things that went on in his adventure, by him trying to be a nice and kind person and how it worked against him in the end. And there's another story about a conversation between two chess pieces.
Wow.
Hi, Darlene. She says my favorite about the man on the train. That's your favorite story, I take it, Darlene.
Yeah, that's the one I was just describing, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I didn't hear you correctly. You said two chess pieces.
Yes.
Which ones?
The king's pawn, and actually it's the player and the pawn. The player and the pawn are having a conversation. The pawn is telling the player that they are trying to battle the same battle and still going with the same plan, and it's going to end up badly, and you need to change where you're thinking and how you're going. And the player is steadfastly holding on to the idea that no, I'm not going to change it. And the pawn is saying, please, if you change it now, things will be better in the end. And the player is like, no, I know what I'm doing. And the player loses the game. And then he starts off the next game the same way that he did before. And the pawn is like, okay, well, here we go again. So that was a story which is talking about the futility of beating your head against the wall and not trying to make yourself grow from the experiences that you get in life and learn from the mistakes. So that's where that one came from.
There was a moral to this story.
There you go.
Yeah.
Poor pawn.
Poor pawn.
Well,
and Darlene said my favorite about the man on the train.
Yeah, I had said that already.
Cool.
I don't think Rob's paying attention to me tonight.
Nope.
Husband's prerogative.
Yeah.
There you go. You understand.
Well, it's fascinating to me that you wrote all of this 25 years ago and then decided to publish it now. Now that you've gone through the horrors of publishing your first book, do you think you'll write any more?
Yeah, I have a short story that I started writing also,
Good.
and I've been working on it. It has nothing to do with self-growth or anything like that. It's a fantasy novel about dragons and maidens and how we as a people can battle with prejudices and misconceptions and how we can rise above it.
Sandy Wills says, sounds like a great book. I love the chess piece perspective. Me too, Sandy. And Sandy,
Sandy
also is an author.
Thank you.
Trish Pipkin says, ooh, dragons. Sandy writes just things about light and things from light and from above. I'm kidding. We know that you like to write dark novels, Sandy.
So let's go ahead and get you're going to do a book giveaway. And let's go ahead and get that out there. The book giveaway for Loreen is the first 4 people to email LOREENDEKORT@hotmail.com will win an ebook copy of Notes on the Train.
Okay, so let me now put out all of your all the ways that we can reach Loreen. It's Facebook, author Loreen de Kort. Let me put that up there.
There you go.
Facebook author Loreen de Kort, AUTHORLOREENDEKORT. That's her Facebook. Twitter is Loreen de Kort. This is such an easy night. I'm liking it. Instagram is Loreen de Kort.
There we go.
Oh, this is great. Email is loreendekort@hotmail.com. Yeah, this is a fabulous night. Let me tell you, my job is easy tonight. Sandy thought what I said was funny about her books being so light.
Yeah, light and lively.
They're
Yeah.
not.
So we talked a little bit before the show that you might be willing to read a little bit of your poetry.
Okay, I would.
Do you still want to? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be great.
If I would read the one on the pawn. Okay. It's called Life as a Black Pawn. Okay. Forgive my reading. King's pawn to king 4. Okay, here we go again. If you listen to me this time, things might be different. Shut up, I know what I'm doing. Rook's pawn to rook 4. No, you can't do this to us again. Just listen to me, please. Leave me be, I'm on top of it, I said. Rook's pawn to rook 4. Queen's bishop to bishop 3. Quick, it's happening again. Can't you see it coming this time? Just listen to me for once. Stop trying to run my game. I can do this myself without your help. Rook's pawn to rook 4. King's bishop to queen's bishop 4. You can still save this thing if you act now. I said, leave me be. What do you know about this game? You are just an insignificant piece in the game. You don't have the know-how or the experience. Just sit there until it's your turn. This is my life too, you know. What you do will affect us all. You are not in this alone. Just let me help. That's all I ask. Just listen to me, please. What could you do to help? Move the knight before it's too late. Why would I do that? What would I gain from it? Please believe in something. Believe in someone. You can listen to others without losing yourself if you only will trust a little. I don't need anyone's help. I'm on top of it. Queen's knight to pawn 4. Queen to king's bishop 7. Checkmate. It wasn't my fault. He cheated. Life's a cheat. Play again? I'm going to beat this time. I won't give up. Neither will I. King's pawn to king 4. Rook's pawn to rook 4. Sigh.
Wow, that is good.
And it's deep.
Deep. Yeah.
That's deep. That's really a great piece of writing there, Loreen. That's really good.
I hope it wasn't confusing with me speaking to different people in the poem.
No.
Okay, good.
No. Trish says, I would listen to the pawn. The player didn't because of his pride, so he lost. Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep.
And with all the stuff going on with COVID
right now,
certainly hits home.
It does. Yeah, we're like you said, we're not in this alone. That's what your character said. We're not in this alone. You're not in this alone.
Right.
And that's the truth. None of us are in this alone. I wish we could.
Sometimes it's very hard to ask for help.
I think it's really hard to ask for help. I think it's much easier to give help. But it's hard to, well, that's a pride thing, like Trish said. Darlene thinks that was a great selection. I do too, Darlene. It was really good.
Thank you.
So we talked about covers. How did you get your cover?
I love your cover, by the way. I love that one too.
I wanted a cover that captures the feeling of the material inside. And so I asked my sister, Lisa Dotson, who is also an author, for suggestions for photographs, which I wanted her to be on a train. I wanted it to be a girl, and I wanted it to be rainy because that would show the feeling of depression and and also, but has changed. Rain brings flowers and brings bees, which brings honey, which which is a little bit of hopefulness in it. So that's why I wanted to have that image on the cover, and that's not me. That was a stock image.
That was you 25 years ago. Come on. Yes, it was. Sandy says, I like how you ended it too. I do too, with a sigh. I like that too. It was really good. And Darlene says, pride stops us from asking for help. Yes, it does. It's really hard to ask for help. It's much easier to give help. Yeah, that cover is really awesome, but it was just a stock photo. Nobody you knew, but good that it had everything that you wanted on it, though.
Yeah. But I did get a professional design on it, but he used the stock image that I provided.
Ah, I see. James says, good thinking on the imagery.
Yes,
it was.
definitely.
Thank you.
Really good. Where you live, actually, you get a lot of rain.
Yeah, that's
a lot of rain. I live just north of Seattle. But it makes everything green and beautiful. We have 100-foot tall evergreen trees. It's just beautiful here. I've only been here for about 18, 19 years. I'm replanted from the East Coast, but I love it here.
Yeah. We used to live in Oregon, in the Willamette River Valley, where everybody said you just rust out. You don't get old and die. You just rust out.
Yeah, people have the assumption of how much it rains here, but it does rain frequently, but the intensity isn't as bad.
Right.
Back in the East Coast, where I'm from, around Maryland, DC, when it rains, it's this huge downpour. You can just feel the drops just knocking you like you're being hit. But here, people don't even use umbrellas. They just walk around in the rain as if it's nothing. And when my mother comes to visit, if I take her out and it's raining, she'll say, do you need an umbrella? I said, please, Mom, don't shame me in front of my neighbors. If they see me walking with this umbrella, they'll know that I don't belong here.
Around here, you go out in the sun, and a few minutes later, it's a tropical downpour, and then it's the sun again. So you never know what to expect.
We've been having rain every afternoon. You can't even see to drive in, but Sandy says, oh, I love that area, especially Olympic National Park. Yeah. So beautiful. Full of Sasquatch.
Yeah, we have mountain ranges on both sides of us, the valley that we're in. So when you're going to the east, you see a mountain range. And when you go to the west, you see another mountain range. And because they're very tall, they still have snow on them. So it's a really breathtaking view while you're driving.
Always, huh?
And you can see Mount Rainier from about everywhere. So
you're supposed to watch the road,
not the mountains.
Not the mountains.
Well, I usually spend my time in the passenger seat, so it's okay.
Okay, then you can do that. Looking out at the raindrops on the window. Yeah.
Alicia said she's in Maryland and it's been raining on and off all day. Yeah, that gets old really quick, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Right, Alicia? It's like
we spent some time in Maryland too, didn't we?
Yeah, we've lived everywhere.
Yeah, just about. They'll catch us. They'll catch up to us one day. No, just kidding.
We've never lived in Kentucky.
No, we haven't. We've driven through Kentucky.
We've driven. It is really beautiful. Mm-hmm. You've lived in Kentucky, Loreen.
Yeah, I did. My husband was stationed in Kentucky in the Army, so we were there for about 1.5 years. It
is so pretty, isn't it?
Was that Fort Campbell?
Fort Knox.
Fort Knox. Oh, okay. Garden the gold for us. Good deal.
Darlene says, yes, Alicia, it's been raining on and off here in Bowie, Maryland. Another Marylander.
Must have a special on Maryland today.
It's called Loreen.
There you go. There you go.
That's
so, Loreen and Abigail, do you guys have any questions or comments to each other?
Well, I was going to ask Loreen, it sounds like you have quite a few authors in your family. Would you like to expand on that, please?
Yeah, my sister Lisa, she writes romance novels, Lisa Dotson. And my oldest sister Linda, Dr. Linda Curitin, as we take to call her now since she got her PhD, she writes leadership books. And then there's me with my poetry book. My brother's not an author yet, but he is a musician, and he has a CD out now that he's working on called Firstborn. He's a jazz musician. He's very notable in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area.
And what's his name?
David Marsh.
David Marsh. Okay.
Mhm.
Everybody look up David Marsh and check out his music.
Buy a CD.
There you go.
Yeah,
It sounds like
Firstborn.
It sounds like you come from a very artistic family.
No kidding,
Yeah.
right?
Creative,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we are very creative. We are very into creative experiences. We grew up on Star Trek and watching that and the love of science fiction, and I think Star Trek gave me an experience that I can step outside of what people think is normal and think outside the box a little bit. That's where a lot of my poetry comes from, thinking outside the box and envisioning things in a different way. Like there's one of my poems about a homeless guy who's talking to a pigeon, and the pigeon is talking to him, and I'm the observer of the conversation between the two, and how a talking pigeon would relate to homelessness, and a donut is an interesting allegory, but it worked together in the poem, and is one of my favorites.
Trish says Star Trek is awesome. It was way ahead of its time.
Totally
And
was.
Trish, I guess it was before the show that we were talking about Star Trek, actually, because
Yeah, James Kirk.
we're. I guess we better not
Yeah.
get into that again. But we are all Trekkies here, so it's exciting for me because I love science fiction. Alicia says, yes, it's very old, especially being stuck out in the rain for over 30 minutes with no umbrella or shelter waiting for a ride. Yes, that does get old, and you can get soaked.
Old and wet.
I'd like to thank Abigail for what she said about honey. I've been throwing out honey for years because I was always told when it went granular, that's when you had to throw it away. It was no good. So thank you for letting me know that my honey is still good.
You can eat crystals.
Yeah, you can eat it that way, but I don't prefer it that way. I prefer the liquid, but most people just throw it out, and it's perfectly good.
Yeah.
And Sandy Wills says The Trouble with Tribbles. I mean,
that was one of my favorite episodes. It was very fun.
I love Trouble with Tribbles.
Yeah,
who could not love The Trouble with Tribbles? That was hilarious. That was really great. And that was when they dumped all the tribbles in the Klingons' spaceship. Right?
Yeah.
The old Klingons that used to look like
They explained the change in the Klingons in Discovery. Was it Discovery?
Yeah.
No, Enterprise. They explained why the Klingons look different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the new series. Yeah.
Darlene mentioned something I was going to ask you about. Loreen also makes the most beautiful greeting cards.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh.
I started making greeting cards about 12 years ago. My daughter asked me to go with her to Stampin' Up! Retreat where she would learn how to make cards, and I was like, I don't want to go. She said, oh, come on, go with me. So I went with her, and it was such fun to make cards and be creative using just paper and ink.
Wow.
So she didn't care for it, but I did, and now I send out greeting cards to all my family and friends. And throughout this pandemic, in fact, I sent out Happy Mail, which is once a month. I sent a card to everyone on my mailing list, about 85 people, to send them a card to cheer up and keep their spirits up throughout the pandemic. And so I ended up sending about 1,500 to 1,700 cards since last year.
How long does it take you to make a card?
Depends on how detailed I want to go, but you can take an hour or so for a card, and it doesn't take a lot of time and effort to make, but when the people get a handmade card, they really appreciate it. And it's easier to get up and go to the dollar store and buy a 99-cent card. And people say, oh, it's a card. They shake it to see if money falls out, and then they move on. Whereas if you have a handmade card, you look at it and you spend time and toss it and look around, and you know the person was thinking about you and they made a little extra effort.
Yeah, money never falls out when I do that. Yeah.
That's really wonderful.
Well, all I get is junk mail anymore.
You wouldn't mind a
Right.
I would be so thrilled to get real mail. I mean,
Right.
letters, real mail. Yeah, I can see why your readers really appreciate that.
No kidding, right?
Yep. And Darlene says that you make beautiful music thank you cards for your brother.
Yeah, when he goes to gigs, he has different players that come. He puts a band together, and he pays them and then gives them a thank you card for their contribution. And I make the cards for him to give out to all of his players and things.
That's
And
right.
also, Darlene didn't say, but I also she has a travel business. Darlene,
She said it. She said it.
And I make cards for her
for my
travel business too.
we just had more comments ahead of it. Trish says, I love the guest tonight, a history-loving beekeeper and a sci-fi-loving greeting cards maker. So multi-talented
There you
tonight,
go.
people.
There you go.
Not just authors, just so creative. That is really wonderful. That's impressive. 1,500 cards. That's 1,500 hours. So I know you say it doesn't take long, but that's a long time.
It kept me and my spirits going through the pandemic, because it was a very sad time as people were falling ill, and the powers that be that need to be protecting us and helping us are arguing amongst themselves, and we're just people, lost. And I wanted them to have something to look forward to other than, as Abigail said, junk mail when you go to the mailbox.
Right. That's all we get. We pay everything online, and so we just get junk mail. We don't even get bills. There's anything in the mail? No.
So it's exciting when you get coupons.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, and my health provider constantly writes me. I get
because they care.
So they care. I'm like.
Well, you were talking about the pandemic, and you made the cards to lift up your reader's spirit. I notice a lot of writers that I'm in contact with, we've all suffered from depression because writing, as you know, is a very lonely business. You're by yourself and you don't see anybody. And of course, with the pandemic, in Kentucky, you really don't see anybody. Most people kind of stay by themselves. So I can see where the cards were very important to people.
Yeah.
And as a writer, I know that I went through this, like I said, writing is a very isolated and lonely job because you're by yourself all the time doing your job. Did you experience any issues like that, or did you just sail right through, or what?
Did I sail through the pandemic? No, I actually have been suffering from depression and being sad, and this is where my writing comes from. But I have had a very supportive husband, and my siblings are very supportive, and we all bond together and hold each other and get through this trial and tribulation period and come out on the other side healthy, whole, and healthy and whole, I hope.
Well, I noticed my books got a little darker during the pandemic. I noticed they got a little more violent, a little more darker. I try to, when you write a cozy mystery, you're not supposed to have a lot of violence in them, but I think it's, are your other authors that come on your show talking about depression that they experienced or?
During the pandemic?
Yeah.
No, nobody else has mentioned that, but we didn't talk about it.
No.
We've hit on other things, but we actually didn't talk about that, but I bet a lot did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they did.
So I'm thinking of some of the people we know that are authors that live by themselves. So that I think had to be very difficult for them.
Yeah.
Because like you said, they work alone. And if they're not married and they don't have family, then they're all by themselves. And that can be rough for anybody. At least if there is no pandemic, you can go out to the corner coffee shop and, interact with people and stuff like that. Darlene said your family looked forward to receiving cards during the holidays and birthdays.
Yeah, when I go back east, I don't go very often, maybe 2-3 times a year. When I go back, they all like, yeah, do you have my email, my address? Because I'm looking forward to your cards. And people tell me that they have the cards. One of my friend, Lou, he's a librarian. He has every card I've ever made for him
Oh,
in a
Wow, that is
box.
so nice.
Isn't
And
that
I'm
nice?
that's
like,
so sweet.
and another person puts it up on the refrigerator. And I said, if you keep doing that, you're gonna have to get a whole nother refrigerator just to have all the cards.
Or they can pay for the kitchen in them.
Yeah, there you go.
Chanel says depression has inspired some of the greatest authors.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
Poe
true.
Poe comes to mind.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah. for
Dashiell
sure.
Hammett.
There you go.
Oh, one of my favorite authors, actually. Love Dashiell Hammett.
Oh, Maltese Falcon. What a masterpiece.
There you go.
Another masterpiece is when I met Sue Grafton, who did
Oh,
the
yeah.
alphabet mastery.
Oh, yeah.
She's from Louisville. So I sent her a note saying, you're a Kentucky girl, I'm a Kentucky girl. Can you do a blurb for Death by a Honeybee, my first book?
Wow.
And as you know, and her first book is A is for Alibi. And when I read it, the hair on the back of my neck stood up because I recognize it's a masterpiece. And I knew that she had been inspired by Dashiell Hammett and Raymond Chandler and James N. Cain, the kind of hard-boiled mystery writers, because her writing was very minimal, which is the kind of writing that I like. And anyway, she sent back a letter. And if you have read any of Sue Grafton's novels, her
I have.
protagonist is Kinsey Milhone, and she's from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this typed letter, like it was from the 80s, like it had been typed on a typewriter. And when I saw her at the Kentucky Book Fair, I went up to her and I thanked her for the letter. And I said, thank you for your assistant for sending me that letter, because I thought her assistant had just signed her name to it. She goes, honey, I typed that letter. My assistant didn't do that. I did.
Wow.
Good
That's
for
cool.
her.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting that you have this program where authors can come on and talk about their experiences, and the audience is introduced to new writers. And Loreen, I think you have a fabulous family, all these artistic people in them.
Thank you.
Great support.
Very few families have everybody is doing something so creative like that. And I've got to really admire that. In my family, oral storytelling was the kind of art form, and my mother was a quilt maker. And that's kind of what they dabbled in and towards the art. So I kind of understand that having that kind of support is very important to an author. It's very important.
Yes.
Sandy Wills says that she has family in Lanesville, Indiana, close to Louisville.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well,
it is indeed.
We are getting close to wrap-up time.
Yeah.
Before we go, Abigail, going to put you on the spot. What kind of encouragement would you have or advice would you have for a new writer? In just one or two sentences, just a short.
Keep your day job. Keep your day job.
Plan on keeping it until you retire.
And remember, Hemingway was not Hemingway in the first year. It takes time and practice to become a writer. It took Hemingway about 10 years to become the writer that we know today. So just keep plugging. Just keep plugging at it.
There you go. And Loreen, will ask you the same question. What kind of advice would you have for beginning authors?
I would advise them that not to give up, to stick with it, and no story can be told until you tell it. So I would suggest that they get out there and don't be afraid of putting yourself out there. It's not an easy road, but it's a fulfilling one. And it's nothing like having that book in your hand that has your name on it at the end, and you say, look, I did something. I've accomplished it.
That's right.
And it's going to be there forever.
It'll be there forever, yeah.
And it is in the Library of Congress.
There you go.
I mean, it's going
Thank
to be
goodness.
there forever.
It won't be.
I mean,
right.
ours are too, and
Yeah,
that's good. That's what you're leaving on this planet. Darlene says she's so proud of you, Loreen.
Thank you, Darlene.
Chanel says, my grandmother was born in Frog, Kentucky, and my grandfather was from Tazewell. Am I saying that right, Abigail? Tazewell?
Yeah. Yeah. Frog, Kentucky. Yes. Yes.
Huh. Chanel, where do you live now? I don't know. I've never asked you that before. I know you are in the audience, but
She lives in Facebook.
I don't think she lives in Facebook or
okay.
YouTube. But Holland.
Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
she's from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I love Holland. We love Holland. My whole family loves Holland. We
That's
love
Michigan.
Holland. Oh yeah, Michigan. Never mind.
The other one.
I don't
the
know
other
Holland.
Holland.
Wisconsin. His
Well,
brother lives in Wisconsin.
Yeah, Waukesha.
In
Yeah.
Waukesha, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, she was born in Culpeper, Virginia.
There we go.
We've lived in Virginia too.
And
Lived in Ashburn. Like
they-
I said, we've been around.
they still haven't caught us, so we just keep moving. Nope.
We've lived the longest in the Tampa area.
Yes.
We've been here for over 25 years now,
Mhm.
so I don't think we're going anywhere any too soon. But yeah, we've got an amazing country. I've loved all of it.
Me
But
too.
yeah, we've had a lot of really interesting authors with interesting stories, Abigail, as to that question. But no one has mentioned depression, though.
We had some other pretty heavy topics.
We've had other heavy
Talk
topics.
about, yeah.
Oh, Chanel, you beat us.
50 times. Okay.
Chanel has moved over 50 times. It isn't fun, is it? That constant moving. Now we have a trailer, so we don't live in the trailer.
No.
We travel in it. But we can
Which
go all over the country.
We'll
still.
be talking about that in just a second here.
Oh,
So
yeah. We better talk about
I want
that.
to thank you, Abigail and Lorene, for being our guests tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Don't go away.
Okay.
I'm going to move you over to
Chanel
the side.
just said she never unpacks.
You're right on over there.
Yeah. Hang with us, you guys, until
Yeah.
after the show.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have anything you'd like to talk about, or?
I thought that I did before the show started, but now I don't remember. So that's okay.
I do have a couple of things. And everybody goes, whoa. Anyway, the next 2 weeks, we're going to be traveling. And we've got a new thing. We have pre-recorded 2 shows that will be airing same time, next Wednesday and the Wednesday after. The first one is author P.J. Mann, writes thrillers, and she lives in Finland. So
She's an Italian who lives in Finland.
yeah, so she's got several books that are really, really interesting, and it was a good session that we had. That's episode 26, and that'll
if
be on
we
the
hadn't
29th.
pre-recorded it, she could never have been on the show.
Right. She had turned us down before because she works during the week, so she couldn't ever do it. And then on the October 6th will also be a pre-recorded. It's also a new episode. And we're having a return of Caleb and Linda Pirtle.
Yeah.
Who
Those
are,
of you who know them should be happy to have me back again.
that was a really good session we had with them
I know
as well.
what I wanted to mention. I wanted to mention that our store that you saw the little commercial for at Indie Book Source is having a sale for the next 3 days.
No, the next 31 hours. So
The
it's-
next 31 hours.
It's only a day and a half long
Yeah,
left
okay.
on it. Up to 38% off on all items on our site. So go ahead and check it out. I mean, there's stuff. There's pillows. There's they're all reading themed items that we designed the designs on them. This is one of the shirts right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. But there we go. Meet the Author podcast. And there's others that are just plain reading ones, and some for Indie Book Source as well. That's indiebooksource.com, and go to the store tab at the top. Just click on the store tab and you can see what we have, and then it'll take you into the store too.
Sandy says they've been so kind to me in helping with marketing.
Oh, well, thank you,
Thanks,
Sandy.
That was a sweet thing to say.
All right. So I guess
I want to remind you, right after our show, well, not right after, at 8:30 is going to be Inside the Drag Closet. They come on next after us. They follow us.
all right. So if you get a chance, drop by and see them. And I guess until next time,
That's all, folks.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.